India's Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, has put what seems to be the final nail in the coffin of Pakistani propaganda about Operation Sindoor and the hostilities between India and Pakistan earlier this year. Speaking at IIT Madras yesterday, the General put Pakistan's propaganda machine to blast when he asserted the political clarity of India's top brass during Operation Sindoor. Let's listen into some excerpts from what he said.
And Op Sindoor, what we did, we played chess. Now, what does it mean? It means we did not know what is the next move the enemy is going to take and what are we going to do. This is something we called about the grey zone. Grey zone is that we are not going for the conventional operations, but we are doing something which is just short of the conventional operations. Conventional operations means go with everything, Clausewitzian approach. Take whatever you have. And if you are able to come back, it's okay, otherwise stay there. But that is the thing which we talk about the conventional approach. Here the grey zone is any activity which is taking place in all domains. That is something which we are talking about. And Op Sindoor taught us that this is the grey zone. So we were making the chess moves. He was also making the chess moves. Somewhere we were giving him checkmate and somewhere we were kind of going in for the kill at the risk of even losing our own. But that's the way life is all about. On 22nd April, you're aware what happened in Pahalgam, and it actually shocked the nation. 23rd is the time when next day itself, we all sat down. And this is the first time which RM has also said, I think enough is enough. And all the three chiefs were very clear, something has to be done. And the free hand was given, of course, that you decide what is to be done. And that is the kind of a confidence with the political directions and political clarity for the first time we saw. And that's what made a difference, because we want to do a lot, but that kind of hand-holding and kind of free, no terms of restrictions, if I can say that. And that is what kind of raises up your morale. Second one is narrative management system. So narrative management system is something which we realize in a big way, because victory is in mind. It's always in mind. If you ask to a Pakistani whether you lost or won, you say, my chief has become field marshal, we must have won only, that's why he's become field marshal. So what I'm saying, that this is how you can influence the population. So it is the domestic population, it is the adversaries population, and it is the neutral population. Can rising powers be accommodated? That's a question you have to ask, and you will get the answer yourself. So then we made inroads through our own way. And the narrative management system, by getting the social kind of a sensitive index, then getting to use the Twitters and other handles from other places. So the strategic messaging which was there was very, very important. And that's why the first messaging we did, that, okay, justice done, Op Sindoor, that hit the maximum, I am told, in the world today, the number of hits which received. So that was the strategic messaging by a simple message. And the logo which you see all over the world was created by a lieutenant colonel and a NCO. So we prepared all this. So when we were going in for this kind of Op Sindoor operations, we were also going for these things, because narrative management system is important. So what?
Joining us live now, in fact, is Ambassador Veena Sikri, former diplomat, Sanjeev Srivastava, foreign affairs expert, also joins us live. Major General G.T. Dwivedi, strategic affairs analyst, is live with us. Major Sudhakarji, strategic affairs expert, also joins us on the broadcast. Major General Dwivedi, let me make a start with you first. What do you make of these comments by the Chief of Army Staff? Do they set the record straight once and for all on Operation Sindoor and its fallout?
Well, Uday, thank you very much. What the Chief of Army Staff has stated, I think that is the way the wars are fought, and we all war veterans. So wars are always fought like on the chessboard, you keep moving your pieces. Only point was here there was no ground operations, it was the aerial war, and therefore it was on the same lines that you fight on the ground, because you don't know what the enemy is going to do. And that is what is unpredictability all about. The second issue is that grey zone warfare. In fact, I was in China for good some time. They are the architect of the grey zone warfare. Grey zone warfare means that once again, you don't know where the front is, where the enemy is, and there is a lot of ambiguity. So coming to specifically to what the chief has stated is that first and foremost, I think he has put it out very clearly that is a political direction. After all, it is the political leadership which gives you the clarity, intent, and then armed forces execute that. But that is what the Indian tradition is. In fact, I am teaching a course on crisis leadership in 1965 also. Lal Bahadur Shastri gave a very clear mandate, and Indian armed forces did very well. So we are continuing with that. The second point is the narrative building. Well, Uday, Today we are in information warfare, means that information warfare is fought simultaneously as the warfare in the air or on the ground, and therefore each nation tries to build a narrative. Ironically, Pakistan generally try to steal the narrative because they tell a lot of lies, they fake a lot of things. But whereas we stick to credibility, we stick to the reliability information. But this time, I think we were able to burst the Pakistan, tricks on the information warfare. I would just like to sum up in two, three very important statements. First and foremost, we are today in the era of aerial warfare, where drones, air power, radars, missiles are dominating the battlefield. The second point is it's a nation war. In fact, Chief was speaking at the IIT Madras, and today the warfare is very technologically driven. So therefore, we require complete talent of the nation to pitch in. And the third point is logistic. He talked about the logistic. He talked about the supply chains. All that come into play. So, in nutshell, Uday, today we are in the era of aerial warfare. We are in the era of technological warfare. We are in the era of information warfare, and we are also in the era of gray zone warfare. I think India has done extremely well in this conflict, Sindoor conflict, and we have given a befitting lesson to Pakistan. But for we got to be prepared for the future. That's exactly what Chief said. You cannot fight the past war on the past template. You got to think for the future. And I think India is on the right track in amalgamating technology, tactics, the political leadership, the army leadership coming all together. This is the way forward, Uday.
General Sudhakarji, come in there on, of course, the timing of these comments as well. They come soon after the Chief of Air Staff has also spoken out on Operation Sindoor and its fallout, and on strategic lessons as well. What do you make of the timings of what General Upendra Dwivedi has said and the contents of his speech as well?
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for getting me for your show. Just wish to, in response to your question, want to take the mind of the viewers or the listeners back to 1962 operation between India and China. Perhaps many of us may not be knowing, for the first time, official disclosure of losses and gains made by China in 1962 operation was made sometime in mid-90s. 96 or 97, and that too it was posted one day, next day it was removed. So this is very partially I'm trying to allude to in order to respond to the question. At least I would compliment our leadership for having decided and come on board and told the people and given them the right perspective as to what has happened. So it goes a great way. When you talk about the timing, ideally speaking, Uday, in today's warfare, we are in 21st century. Let's not try to fool anybody. Information warfare, it occupies a central place in any kind of kinetic, non-kinetic, gray zone, conventional, whatever you may say. Where back in 2006, the Hezbollahs brought the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, onto the knees. And they actually had an edge over the IDF primarily because of information warfare. So therefore, I would recommend that we need to evolve a system of information warfare, something that we practiced during Kargil war on day-to-day basis. There is to be a press briefing by the MO, military operations on day-to-day basis. That actually pays a lot of dividends, and it beats the design and the guileful pattern of telling lies all over the world. I was not here in India when the Operation Sindoor was unfolding. I was outside, and in that I was horrified to see how the information warfare was being stolen by Pakistanis. They were all, telling lies about whatever was happening. So the best way to contest such kind of thing or contain it is to tell the truth then and there and kill the issue. Last but not the least, also let me tell through your channel that one of the issues on which we have been wasting a lot of time, it would be nice that if we ask questions in the temple of democracy, that is India prepared to prevent another Pahalgam? Those kind of questions will be more relevant, and is Pakistan and China put together. It was not Pakistan alone. Pakistan was supported by China. I would say Pakistan was an extended vassal state of China. And also, nobody is asking about the network centric. Are we prepared to match with the capability of China, the surveillance capability? They have actually practiced and validated network centric. Is India ready for the network centric? So those are the futuristic questions which our countrymen should be doing well by asking or raising in parliament, not trying to keep branding the same issue, the stale news about how many aircrafts came down and how many were shot down. These are not the issues. And let me also tell you lastly that which country till date, which country, be it Russian or Ukraine or Israel or Iran or Americans in any of the ongoing conflict, has anybody officially, formally come and announced about the losses they have had, be it the aircraft or the tanks or the missiles or the men they lost or the troops they lost? No, it is not as per the military science. Military science doesn't teach you to tell your losses when the ongoing conflict or even after that. By doing so, you are disclosing the combat residual power. When combat residual power is known to the adversary, they will be able to factor in this particular issue and rebalance, redeploy, and also redesign the complete
Yes,
battle
absolutely.
architecture.
Absolutely. I'll come back to you. Let me quickly join Ambassador Veena Sikri as well at this point. Ambassador Sikri, what do you make, of course, of what General Upendra Dwivedi has now said about, of course, the Sindoor operation, the fallout of it, the big revelations made by him, and of course also the response to the propaganda machinery of Pakistan, which has all been rebutted now in detail?
Well, I think that one of the important reasons, in my view, why Chief of Air Staff came up with this information yesterday, very deliberately planned, and I'm absolutely in agreement with what has been said, that we have the right to disclose information at our choice, at our will. So that it was chosen to be revealed yesterday, one of the important points was that it revealed so starkly the extent of India's victory over Pakistan, the extent of the damage, the extent of which from a lot of this, Pakistan has not even recovered from this damage yet. And this gives a complete lie to what is being said that, oh, mediation, we did mediation, we did mediation. There was no need for mediation. After India inflicted this enormous damage on Pakistan, all that the DGMO of Pakistan could do was to call his counterpart in India and seek a cessation of fire. And we said, all right, for a temporary basis, Yudh Viram is all right by us, So I think this is a very important aspect because the repeated claims that, there was mediation and President Trump mediated and used trade as a weapon and all these aspects is completely incorrect. Our Prime Minister has explained this directly to President Trump in a telephonic conversation. And now I think with Chief of Air Staff's strong and complete revelations about the extent of our victory, the extent of the damage, there can be no question of anybody from India seeking any mediation at all. I think this is an important aspect that has come out, and certainly the people in the West, they have got this message. They know that when you're showing in black and white and proving the kind of victory you have, the planes you have damaged, the names of the planes, the hangars they were in, all that, showing the satellite imagery, how can you claim after that there was anybody has asked for mediation? So this is an important factor. But I also think that it is very good as in India, the depth of the victory is now being understood, and there can be no argument after this by the opposition or anybody else. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? So I think it has served a lot of very important purposes, and it has come out very well in a statement made to a students' faculty, and it also shows that India, in this sense, has been able to control the narrative. It is true that in the first day after the 7th, after the first attack by India on the terrorist headquarters in Murid Ke Bhawalpur and other places, the narrative that Pakistan tried to win over was that it's the Chinese aircraft which were able to get the better of their Indian counterparts. Now that they tried that narrative for a few days, but after 9th and 10th, it just could not work. And today and yesterday, what has been said by the Chief of Air Staff has completely revealed the reality on it. He hasn't described the aircraft downed as Chinese aircraft, but I think it's known to everybody what they were. And this was a very significant message that was being given, that it is our
Yes.
air defense systems which were able to take the brunt of any attack on them. It is our BrahMos missiles, it is our Akash Tir, our indigenous capacities and capabilities which have won the day for India. And that's a strong message that, you're able to destroy a target at 300 kilometers with pinpoint accuracy. I mean, something that very few people in the world have been able to claim, and to say that we are claiming it so strongly and positively with facts and figures has been a great factor, a great strong factor for India in its narrative of what happened during Operation Sindoor.
All right, let me take that to Sanjeev Srivastava as well, foreign affairs expert. Sanjeev, does this now, prove the naysayers wrong and set the record straight? What do you make of the timing of what the COAS has said, and also the implications of some of the finer points of his address, and also the excerpts that we played out? What is to be read between the lines as well, Sanjeev?
Well, the message from India is very loud and clear, that we have enormous resources, capabilities, and as well as a strong political determination to take on Pakistan as and when they hatch terror conspiracies against us. And Indian Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, after Operation Sindoor, had delivered an address to nation, and in that address he had said very clearly that we have set a new normal, a Lakshman Rekha for Pakistan. And this Operation Sindoor was enormous success. We have got yet another victory on Pakistan, and we carried out a very robust and a very precise anti-terror operation, and we got every strategic goals what we had set. We destroyed all those terror targets, as well as when Pakistan responded, then obviously we had to respond, and we responded the way we did was a matter of great pride. What our Chief of Air Staff has just elaborated yesterday, that we destroyed 5 of their fighter jets, as well as a large, maybe that could be a Vox plane, and that is a very big success. And we also destroyed their air bases. So we have set a very a new normal and Lakshman Rekha for Pakistan. And if they do not realize still their blunders of terror conspiracies, and if they hatch any more conspiracies against India, then we will be responding, and all the options are on the table. And we have said it very clear, our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi has said it very clearly, that we will be targeting not only next time the terror infrastructures, but their sponsors and supporters, and that is obviously a Pakistani establishment. So I think our message to Pakistan and to the whole world is very loud and clear, that we have a zero tolerance approach against terrorism. This new India will not and shall never tolerate acts of terrorism, and we will be responding. This is India not of 2611 time. This is India of 2025, and we have been changing our approach, and we have become very assertive and very proactive in terms of taking actions against terrorism. We have demonstrated this through Operation Sindoor as well. Before that, we had carried out surgical strike as well as air strike. And as I said, all the options are on the table, and we will be responding much harder next time if Pakistan still hatches the conspiracies against us. So this message is very loud and clear. COAS and the Chief of Air Staff, all of them have been elaborating, and every Indian must feel very proud of the kind of achievement our armed forces, our military has got in this Operation Sindoor. And also, let me say that the narrative which Pakistan tried to build in the initial few days and we have won over that narrative too. We have sent a all-party delegation to the all over world, and they have done a great job, a very successful visit they had, and the kind of responses we have got. You have seen that TRF, the resistance front, has been included into the United States of America's terror list, and that is one big success we got as far as our India-US counterterrorism cooperation is concerned, and the whole world is also recognizing
Yes,
that
yes. It's
was
also a future
conspiracy was
warning,
as
isn't it, Major General Dwivedi? It's a future warning as well being sent out to all our potential enemies on what India's capabilities are and will be.
I think it is a global warning. It is the warning to the friends and also to the foes that this is what is India capable of doing. Uday, I like to make 2-3 important points. Firstly, Pakistan has a short memory, and it has been defeated time and again. I fought 70 war, and when Dhaka was about to fall, Yahya Khan was saying we are winning. Now that is the credibility of the nation. In 1965, my battalion Jat regiment was on the outskirts of Lahore, and Pakistan is saying we are winning. So we need to also firstly teach some bit of history to Pakistan, because as a nation they have short memory. And let's not underplay our victories before. If of course Sindoor is only carrying on India's legacy, but India has always delivered very strong message to Pakistan before as well. Second point is, Sindoor is not the last one. Let me say, or let me put it that way, that this is not going to be the last one. We are in the arena of grey zone warfare, what Chief rightly brought out. So therefore, the Chinese and Pakistanis are on the same page. Chinese are masters of grey zone warfare. They are the masters of information warfare. Today, two are together. We got to be prepared for Sindoor 2, 3, 4. They will keep coming. But as a nation, we got to stand very solid. And my last point is, today's Uday is in nations that fight. Political leadership, military leadership, diplomacy, technology, all come together. It's not only armed forces fighting. So therefore, we demonstrated very clearly that when it comes to the prestige, sovereignty of the nation, India stands as one. And that's a message that has gone across the globe, as I said, in the region and at large. And that is what true India is all about. It always stands its ground. It's not a passive nation. Yes, we are not aggressive, but if someone tries to play funny, then we know how to deliver the message. And I think Operation Sindoor was a very stern message to Pakistan as also.
Yes, and that's
China.
something that, both these addresses back to back prove. Do you believe they've been timed to happen with this concurrence? Major General Sudhakarji, the Chief of Army Staff, and the Chief of Air Staff before it.
Very interesting point you have raised. Yes, this is by design. I think a lot of thought have gone into, and by design, like Ambassador Ma'am very nicely articulated, there is a greater depth and application of mind which has gone in, and these disclosures have been made by some kind of a planned method. Having said that, Uday, please allow me 1 odd minute if I may dilate. First of all, there should be no doubt in the minds of any of our countrymen in the history of warfare, be it Cold War 1.0 or Cold War 2.0. There is no conflict in the world, no conflict which has started and ended in 88 hours, and that too in favorable terms. There was a dominance of escalatory matrix. When you shift from one doctrine to another doctrine, we shifted from the doctrine of I would say restraint, which was practiced way back in 2008, which Mr. Srivastav alluded to. We had everything. The HFU wanted to go inside and strike the militant or the terrorist hubs. But we did not take that step. Maybe the reason X, Y, Z was there. So whatever may be, that was strategic restraint. And the strategic restraint had changed to strategic risk. And this risk is something which we have to, reciprocal risk they call it. It can be achieved only if you are dominating the escalatory matrix, which India did in the warfare, which no other country in the world has achieved till now. Third and most important thing I wish to highlight, Uday, if you allow me, is that the doctrine of deterrence of denial, which every country in the world has been practicing so far in Cold War 1.0 and 2.0, was witnessed in totality with migrating and gravitating towards doctrine or deterrence of punishment for the first time. This is any terrorist act of terror will be treated as an act of war. This is the classic example, without mobilizing resources, without touching the baseline of conventional warfare, like General Dwivedi very rightly articulated. In the grey zone battle, the Chief of the Army Staff very nicely, I would say he has expressed himself pretty well by saying that without going anywhere close to the conventional domain, we have managed to neutralize the targets, hands down, with precision engagement, which was successfully achieved by India without any losses or casualty. This is a remarkable and resounding victory of the resurgent democratic India.
My
And
thanks
this
to
will
all of
go
our
down
guests
in
for
the
joining
annals.
us on this broadcast. We're taking a very short break. We've run totally out of time. Much more on the other side.